Am I the a-hole for not wanting to name my child after my late husband? Plus updates. Original post. Me, 31, and my current husband, 35, recently found out that we were expecting twin boys. And my first husband's mother is livid that we aren't naming one of them after her son. A little background. My first husband, Michael, and I were college sweethearts. We got married not long after graduation, and I thought I would be with him for the rest of my life. Unfortunately, we were only married for a couple of months before Michael passed away suddenly. It was one of the worst times in my life, and I never thought that I would ever fall in love again, much less get married again or have a family. I remained very close with Michael's mom, my mother-in-law, and she was very supportive when I eventually started dating again. Not long after I met my current husband, John, I took him to her house so that they could meet. She was so excited to meet him, and I remember going to the bathroom and crying tears of relief that she wasn't angry at me for moving on. When John and I got married, she was so happy for me, and on my wedding day, she took me aside and told me that she knew Michael was happy for me too. It meant so much to me to hear her say that. Earlier this year, John and I found out that we were pregnant. At first, mother-in-law was ecstatic, making jokes about being a bonus grandma and asking to help plan a gender reveal party and baby shower. But then when the subject of names came up, she was shocked that we weren't planning to name the baby after Michael. I explained to her that if it was a boy, we were going to name him after John's father. I could tell she wasn't happy, but she seemed to accept it. Things took a turn for the worst after my 20-week ultrasound, when we found out that I was carrying twin boys. When I told her the news, she flat out told me that I had to name one of the babies after Michael, or she would never forgive me. When I told her that we weren't going to do that, she absolutely flipped, saying that I was betraying the memory of her son. I tried to make her understand that as much as I love and miss Michael, that chapter of my life is over. And I feel like it's disrespectful to John to insist on naming one of his children after another man. At first, John said that he would be fine with it if it was what I wanted, but eventually he admitted that the idea made him uncomfortable. I never want to make my mother-in-law think that I've forgotten Michael, or that he wasn't important to me. But I don't want to name one of my children after him either. And honestly, I don't think he would have wanted me to. There are better ways of remembering him than giving his name to a child that will never have any real connection to him. I tried explaining this to mother-in-law, but she just wouldn't hear it. She told me that she would never speak to me again if I didn't name one of the babies after her son. She's been a really important part of my life, and I don't want to lose her. But at the same time, I feel like she's giving me an unfair ultimatum. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. We all grieve differently. It's your child to name. And if you don't want to name them something, don't. Name your child what you and your current significant other think is right. Your mother-in-law's an a-hole for putting this ultimatum on you. She's hurting bad though. Burying your child is one of, if not the worst things in this world. Up to you if you want to give her a pass on being an a-hole about this, versus just cutting off the connection yourself. Not an easy choice. Congrats on the new babies though, and good luck in life. It's been about a decade though since Michael died, and if not mother-in-law is reacting like this now, those two boys will most likely be treated like crap by her. Or she'll designate one of them her Michael. It'll lead to a lot of preferential treatment of that twin over the other. Sounds like not mother-in-law needs some serious therapy. And personally, I'd make her getting grief therapy an ultimatum for any chance of her interacting with those boys. If not, it's a crap show waiting to happen. Not today, home. It's great that you have maintained great relationship with your late husband's mother. That doesn't change the fact that your kids have no connection to Michael. It would be unfair to your husband and to the kid. Does your name have a story? Oh yeah, I was named after my mom's first husband. The names should be important to both of you or at least have some logical meanings. It's not like you were in a poly relationship and one partner died. Also, where I live, it is said that it's bad luck to name a child specifically after someone dead. Not today, home. I think it's time to break ties with her. Your husband must be a really patient man. He's the most patient, kind, and compassionate man I've ever met. And I tell him so every day. Now for the first update. Wow. Blown away by all the feedback and support. We are hosting in-laws, John's parents, so I can only add a short update for now. But I promise to leave a longer one when they go home in a couple of days. For now, I just want to address a few things I saw in the comments. A lot of you wanted clarification as to how long Michael has been gone. It will be 10 years this October. And no, Michael's not his real name. Any names that I've included in the post have been changed to protect anonymity. A lot of you also wondered why I am still close with his mother after so long. I probably should have included this in the original post for context, but there are a couple of reasons for this. Michael was an only child and his father was never in the picture, and she has virtually no other family left besides a handful of cousins who live across the country. Over the years, she's been my steadfast supporter, always the first to encourage me to live my life and be happy. Funnily enough, I might not have met John if it wasn't for her. A friend of mine had set me up with him on a blind date and I almost backed out. The only reason I didn't was because my ex-mother-in-law convinced me to go. Honestly, she is the last person I ever would have expected this from, which is why I've found it so hard to deal with. A lot of you have said this is probably her being forced to finally deal with a lot of unprocessed grief, and I think that's probably true. I think at some point I stopped thinking of her as my mother-in-law and started thinking of her as a friend. I thought that she'd come to think of me the same way, but now I'm realizing that at least a part of her still sees me as Michael's wife. I'm hopeful that we will find a way to work it out, but I am prepared to let her go if it comes to that, even though it would make me terribly sad. To those of you who said I should start putting up some boundaries with her, you're probably right. I honestly thought all of the bonus grandma jokes were harmless at first, but now I have started to think otherwise. I don't want to make any rash decisions yet until we've both had a chance to calm down. But as things stand now, she has a lot of work to do in a way for regaining my trust. As to where I stand on the name issue, I am not going to name either of my children after Michael. For those of you who were worried I might cave on the issue, don't be. It was never an option. I briefly considered doing something with a middle name, but ultimately decided against it. I don't want to burden either of my children by naming them after a man they will never have any connection to. As to how we honor Michael's memory, every year John and I go visit his grave on his birthday. It was actually John who started the tradition. The year we got engaged, and we haven't missed a year since. Maybe someday when they're old enough, we'll take the boys. I don't know how exactly, but I'm sure I'll find a way to explain to them who Michael was and what he meant to me. For those of you who ask if this was having a negative impact on my marriage, the answer is no. John has been my rock through the entire pregnancy, and his only concern during this ordeal has been my emotional well-being. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if I wanted to name one of these babies after Michael, that he would let me and never say a word about it, no matter how much it hurt him. Which makes me even more determined not to cave on the issue, because I refuse to repay his selflessness with selfishness. As to where things stand with ex-mother-in-law and I, my sister-in-law, brother's wife, is good friends with her. They teach together at the same school, so right now she's acting as a sort of go-between. She says that she thinks ex-mother-in-law is having a long overdue emotional breakdown. We both agree that she has avoided fully processing her grief, and now it's all coming to a boiling point. She's pushing hard to get her to see a therapist, and I'm hopeful that we can salvage at least some of our relationship. But if not, I'll find a way to live with it. And finally, to the handful of commenters who insinuated that I am still in love with Michael, and that I'm not being fair to John, let me just say that until you've been in my shoes, you won't understand. Michael and I were very young when we got married. I loved him very much, and he will always, always have a place in my heart. But John is absolutely the love of my life. It took me years of therapy, but I don't feel guilty about it anymore. Thank you all so much for commenting and leaving your thoughts. It's helped me so much to process things and sort out my emotions. Planning to see my ex-mother-in-law later this week after current in-laws leave, and I will be back with an update as soon as possible. Now for the second update 7 weeks later. I meant to do this sooner, but it has been a wild month. As it turns out, carrying two human beings inside of you takes a bit of a toll, and lately I've been feeling it. As of yesterday, I'm at 32 weeks, which means we're officially out of the danger zone if the boys decide to come early, but hopefully they'll stay where they are for a little while longer. John and I were advised by a friend that we should give them names that mean something to us as a couple. So we decided to name them for our favorite Tom Hanks characters, as it was our mutual love for the actor that we first bonded over. Hint, neither of them will be named Forrest. One of them will be named after a character starred alongside Meg Ryan. Since I made this post, it has come to light that ex-mother-in-law has a serious problem with alcohol. I never realized this before, because apparently she was very good at hiding it. Also, I've been told that while she has been nothing but supportive and kind to my face, she has made some very unkind comments about me and John behind our backs. She's even told some people that I cheated on Michael, her son, with John, even though I didn't even meet him until several years after Michael died. We went no contact 2 weeks ago, and it makes me very sad, because Michael adored his mother, and it would break his heart to see her like this. Because as awful as she's been to me lately, I know it's just because she's in pain. Still, I know he would understand why I've decided to cut her out of my life. I truly hope that one day she'll heal and we can find a way to be friends again. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé he doesn't get to name both of our babies? I'm pregnant with twins and my fiancé and I just found out we're having a boy and a girl. We started talking about names the other day. He told me that he really wanted to name the baby boy after himself, first and middle. I wasn't on board at first, but after thinking about it, I agreed. I told him that for the baby girl, I wanted her first name to be my sister's since we were very close, and the middle to be my dad's since he passed when I was young. My dad's name isn't really unisex, but is becoming a common girl's name. My fiancé got visibly sad and told me he wanted to name the baby girl after his mom and have the middle name be his dad's name. His dad's name is a unisex name. I told him that I didn't really think it was fair that he got to name the first baby what he wanted, and now wants to name the second baby also what he wants. I also said it wasn't fair that my family gets excluded. He said he really wanted to incorporate at least his mom's name. I told him that the baby girl's middle name can be his mom's, but then the boy's middle name is going to be my dad's. He said he wanted the baby boy named completely after him though, so the baby is a junior. I told him he doesn't get to name both of the babies what he wants. He got upset about this comment and has been standoffish toward me. I don't think that was so awful of me to say, but now I'm second-guessing my comment and wondering if I'm an a-hole for it. Now for the top comments. Not an a-hole. Also, it is a nightmare paper-wise when a kid has the exact same name as their father. My family did this with my brother, and it causes so many problems. I highly don't recommend that you do that. Also, my brother started to resent his name due to him wanting to be his own unique person and not a copy of Dad. I highly recommend not going the junior route. Strong support for your comment about your brother being named after his father. Let kids be their unique selves. My husband is a junior, and his father's financial information shows up on his credit report from time to time. Things like having a Sears credit card before he was actually born. You'd think different birthdays and social security numbers would prevent it, but no. Not a a-hole. He's being selfish. Both child names should require 2 yes votes. Exactly. 2 yeses and 1 no is what it takes to name babies. Not a a-hole. I presume he thinks they are both getting his last name too? Why shouldn't get one your last name? And he got visibly sad when he didn't get his way. It's time for you to start getting visibly sad that he can't respect your feelings. Here's a fair solution. You each choose 2 names. First name choice for one gender results and middle choice for the other. He picks Anne and Brad. You pick Claire and David. You end up with Anne Claire and David Brad. Or you end up with Claire Anne and Brad David. Edit. I feel I need to clear something up that I'm seeing a lot. Quite a lot of people keep telling me to give the kids original names and not name them after someone else. In my family, it's very normal to recycle names and name new babies after family members. It's actually considered abnormal if you give your baby an original name. I know this isn't the norm and it's weird for others, but like I said, it's normal for us and our family actually loves having recycled names. A few of us love that we have the same names. We don't find it weird and we enjoy it. Every family is different and our families enjoy sharing names. It's fine if you don't agree, but that's just how our family is. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for demanding that my mother display photos of my wife in her house? I got married 2 years ago to the love of my life. I feel like my mom doesn't really like her, but the relationship is mostly okay. Honestly, I have a feeling that since I got married, I've been left out of a lot of stuff. But the only one I can prove is my mom's birthday trip. To be clear, no one is straight up rude. But it is clear my mom and wife don't vibe, and the rest of my family seems meh about her, which does make me sad. My mom has a wall with a lot of pictures on it. There are plenty of pictures of my sister's partner and there are pictures of extended family, but not a single one of my wife. My mom has pictures of her, because some of these were taken at events we were at, but she just chooses the ones without my wife. Honestly, this is not something I would have picked up on, but my wife did, and it bothered her. My wife's family is huge on family, and while I don't think my mother-in-law loves me, she definitely includes me in everything. I brought it up to my mom, and she said she hadn't noticed. I said I didn't really believe her, and she shrugged and said my wife isn't her daughter. I pointed out that my sister's partner isn't her son, or my aunt's husband isn't her brother, but she has pictures of them. My mom said it was her house, and the whole conversation's dumb. I said she can't exclude the love of my life, And my mom said this is a really pathetic thing to care about and we are being weird. My wife was upset and feels like it was a clear statement. So I told my mom she could either put up some pictures of my wife or we wouldn't be coming over. My mom said, okay, don't come over. That was probably 4 to 5 months ago. I checked up about Christmas and asked if she had put up even one picture. My mom said no, she wasn't going to, we can't make her, and just don't come to Christmas and see if she cares. Well, we won't be going to Christmas, but my sister is super pissed at me and thinks I'm an entitled a-hole. And I heard my stepdad was making fun of us. I don't feel too bad because everything I've read online talks about you have to be a united front. Not an a-hole. You are doing everything right. Time to show them how much better your life is without them. I know with current events travel can be tricky, but you should try to do something special for Christmas and take lots of photos. Also, never take or post another photo of yourself without your wife ever again. If you really want to get petty, if you know there's something your mom wants, but your stepdad hasn't delivered, for example, a piece of jewelry she wants, buy one for your wife and make sure your mom finds out indirectly, and take/post photos. Edit for those having a problem with my petty suggestion. The part about other significants being included and not Opie's wife really pissed me off. If all significants were left out, I just say let it go. But if Opie's wife is going to be singled out, I say unleash the petty kraken and give it a camera. Lol, I love that. But unfortunately my mom gets whatever she wants the moment she pouts. Not an a-hole. Your mom doesn't like your wife, unfortunately. However, your mother does have a point. You can't make her put up any photos. Maybe go low/no contact with your mom. Talk it over with your wife and see how she feels. It's nice to see a husband with a backbone on the site. Also, you might need to look into r/just no mother-in-law. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents I can't wait to move out? Plus updates. Original post. Hi everyone. For as long as I can remember, I've been the child my parents expect the most from, yet give the least to. An example is, I'm a medical school applicant. I went to the cheapest state school and I'm paid intern at a cardiologist's office. I have yet to hear my parents congratulate me, or even say they're proud of me. My older sister went to the most expensive school for undergrad and the most expensive nursing school, and total, her tuition costed about $500,000. To add, they got her a gift when she applied to undergraduate schools when she got in, when she graduated, when she got into nursing school, when she graduated again, and when she passed her NCLEX. I have yet to receive anything, even an affirmation statement. Thankfully, I can say my family is comfortable financially, but I do my best to avoid any additional costs for them, hence the cheapest school possible. On to the issue. They expect me to watch after our dog and my sister's kid every waking moment of the day. I haven't had any time to myself because of this. I have plans? Nope, can't have them. Gotta stay home and watch the dog so my parents can go out. Wanna watch a movie? Nope, can't. My sister needs me to go do her laundry. And if I say no, it turns into an issue. There's so many examples of this, but my cup overflowed when I was studying for the MCAT and they did not give me even enough respect to leave me alone to study. I was constantly watching after our dog, catering to them and their guests and taking care of my then pregnant sister, as if she doesn't have a husband. I ended up having to retake. Today in the car, my mom asked if I'd move out if I get into an out-of-state school, and I said in a heartbeat. She was visibly upset and asked why in a pretty angry manner. I mentioned all of the above reasons and then added, if I stay here, you guys will be the reason I fail academically. My whole family isn't talking to me now. Am I the a-hole? I know I need privacy and a stress-free study space for when I'm studying to become a doctor. But seeing how upset my mom got made me feel so bad, so I don't know. Added to add, a few of you mentioned moving in with someone. My grandparents are absolute angels, and have always offered me to stay with them. I've taken the offer many times, but I just feel too much of a burden on them. I don't want them to have any negative energy or conflict around them. Additionally, I pay for everything of mine. The only thing I don't pay for is a roof over my head, which I'm thankful for. Someone mentioned confusion with my thankful portion of my parents being comfortable. Yes, They are comfortable enough, but that doesn't mean they cover my expenses. And whatever they have covered, I have eventually paid them back. Another thing to add is, a while back, they mentioned they would help with medical school tuition. But I don't know how likely that situation will be. I'll try to update if anything else occurs. I'm hopeful me saying this to them today would maybe make them rethink how they've been towards me. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the whole. No wonder your parents are upset though. Hearing your child say you're a bad parent is even more rankling and hurtful when deep down you know they have a legitimate grievance. Plus, now they know they will be losing their house elf. My dad specifically said, "Who's going to watch the dog? Don't move out. It'll be so hard to figure it out," when I mentioned applying to out-of-state schools. Please go to an out-of-state school. They do not care about you nor your schooling. It seems like they subconsciously or consciously want you to fail, so you're forced to continue living there. I got an interview for a school that's across the country, so I'm very hopeful. Not the whole. Your sister is clearly the golden child and you are being taken advantage of. Move out as soon as you can. I just feel really underappreciated. A simple "I'm proud of you" is literally more than any monetary gift for me at this point. My entire extended family sees clear divide in treatment and treats me how I wish my parents treated me. When my uncle found out I applied to medical schools, he sent me flowers and sent me the cutest message describing his appreciation for me and all I do for his kids and myself. Not the a-hole. If there's any student accommodation you can get access to, get out of there. It's one thing to do your part around the house, but being your sister's nanny is above and beyond. Mini update. My mom came into my room today and told me that her and my dad want to set up a family meeting tonight with my sister. I told them only if my boyfriend, uncle, and aunt can be there too. If this happens, I'll let you all know. Now for the full update. Hey everyone. Thank you to those who have given their advice, wisdom, and kind words. Thank you to those who are concerned for my well-being. It means a lot. After this morning, when my mom came in to tell me about the meeting, I called my boyfriend of 6 years now, who ended up seeing this post. He said he wishes he can take me out of this situation sooner, but his parents depend on him in many ways, medically and financially. Though he promised me the second I get into any school, that him and I would start apartment hunting so we'd live together. In that moment, I couldn't stop crying from how happy I felt. He doesn't want me moving out on my own, because he has before and he knows how demanding it could be, especially since I'll be in school and won't have the opportunity to work as often as I do now. So if he could contribute in any way to lessen my load, he said he would. I then called my uncle and we spoke for a bit, mostly him reassuring me and comforting me while I cried. He said he'd definitely come, and he did. Someone mentioned him being a great person. You're going to love him even more. So when they all arrived, we all sat in my living room and my dad started a conversation with, "Why do you feel the need to move out?" in a heartbeat. My uncle then instantly pretty much exploded on him, telling both my mom and my dad how horrible they've treated me over the years, how unfair they've been, and the lack of reassurance they've given me. My aunt, who happens to be a licensed therapist, contributed to the conversation and explained how mentally, emotionally, and financially abusive they've been towards me. This entire time, my parents did not utter a single word, just my mom crying. My sister, however, she got the worst of it. She decided it would be smart to say, "Why don't you ask for stuff?" And my boyfriend then mentioned how I have asked for them to tell me they're proud, rather than lecturing or telling me I can always do better, and they still don't. I then added after this how I watch after their kid, do their chores and housework, and how her husband doesn't contribute in any way because my parents said his parents financially support them. My uncle laughed at her, which I kind of felt bad for, because she started crying about how irresponsible they are at their ages, 28 female and 29 male. After this, my uncle, bless his heart, he was in tears at this point. Told them if he could have seen the future when I was born, he would have found a way to take me in as his own. Moreover, I want to try to keep this short just so it's not too long to read. My parents ended up having their butts handed to them by my aunt, uncle, boyfriend, and myself. They later finally came to the understanding that they have been horrible. Per my dad's words, I didn't realize how bad it had gotten until now. My mom just kept crying and saying she's sorry, and how she also didn't realize she began acting towards me the way her parents were with her, not the generational trauma. The end of this conversation was my boyfriend telling them that whether they liked it or not, I will be moving out eventually, and there's nothing they can do about it. I need to have my space, not only for studying but for my healing journey. They agreed that this might be the best as it could lead to a better relationship. Additionally, my aunt suggested group therapy, which they also agreed to. Personally, I don't know. I see this as a good outcome from what I'm used to. There's usually yelling and back and forth arguing. I'm hoping I'm not being naive and thinking they understood, but after my uncle and aunt left, my dad came into my room in tears and just kept saying sorry. I've been emotionally distraught and mentally exhausted over this last day. I don't know if I can forgive, because I definitely can't forget, but that's something I can come to grow in peace with. This feels like such a bittersweet resolution. Thank you all for all of your kind words and advice. I really didn't think this would get this much traction. But again, my eternal thanks, and I hope you all have a blessed, successful, and happy year to come. When I suggested an update, I really had little hope for your parents admitting any shortcoming. Happy to be wrong. Honestly, I really didn't think they'd ever apologize, nor even admit to their faults. I just think them hearing it from my uncle and boyfriend made them really aware of how obvious their unfairness had been. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother the truth and why I don't ask him for anything? Plus update. Original post. I, 19 female, have 3 brothers, 27, 28, and 32. My oldest brother Dave got married to Sarah in May. I study halfway across the world from my hometown where my family are. I got really sick a few months ago and rushed to the nearest hospital. Turns out they don't accept my insurance and I had to pay out of pocket. I was 50 euros short and called everyone I could, but no one was picking up. I then called my oldest brother Dave because he always picks up and asked him to send me 50 euros and I would send it back once I get paid in a few days. He told me not to be ridiculous and he didn't need me to pay him back 50 euros. Sarah called me that night and asked how I was doing. After the chit-chat, she asked if I could ask someone else the next time I need money, because my brother is a married man. I was shocked, but I apologized and said I offered to pay him back. She said it's fine, but next time I should plan my finances in advance, so I won't have to rely on a married man. It's my birthday soon, and Dave called to ask me what I wanted. I said nothing and that I was fine, but I appreciate him asking. My other brother called to ask what I want, and I said I wanted some money to heat my apartment. I couldn't afford to heat it this month. He was baffled that I was so broke I couldn't afford heating, but wasn't saying anything. He started tearing up on a phone call with me and ended the call and sent me 500 euros later. I guess he told Dave about a call with me, because Dave called me and started interrogating me on why I just told him I didn't need anything, and then asked my youngest brother. He sounded offended and asked why I feel like I can't rely on him. So I asked, haven't you spoken to Sarah about this? He was confused in what I meant, and I told him about the conversation I had with Sarah after he sent me the 50 euros for the hospital. He said he'd call me back, but he hasn't. A cousin of mine sent me a message a few hours ago saying I was a witch for meddling in their marriage and that Dave didn't owe me anything. I was like, huh? When did I say Dave owed me anything? I have never relied on him for anything, nor do I plan on it. I mean, I feel bad that Dave and Sarah are fighting, but I can't help but feel weirded out that Sarah did that behind his back and he had no clue. I've been extremely anxious since, and I can't stop shaking. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Sarah is a manipulative a-hole. Your brother had no idea she had that conversation with you. Sarah's now playing the victim. Your brother may have realized what sort of nasty person he may have married, because there may be a lot more things along the same lines that you have no idea about. And Sarah is talking to other family members about it too. Double nasty. And likely lying about how it went down. Also, what is with her creepy weirdness about not asking a married man was sadly within my own family. An aunt said something similar to a niece, and unlike this case, we called aunt out on her creepiness. Not the a-hole. There is something seriously wrong with your sister-in-law. Do not trust her. Personally, when someone starts to show me this type of behavior, if I cannot get away from them, I keep screenshots and record conversations, just in case they start playing games and messing with me down the line. Also, something wrong with a cousin, who meddled in OP's relationship with her brother and sister-in-law, just to scold her for meddling in someone else's relationship. Sounds like the whole family could use some pointers and boundaries. Not the a-hole. What the heck did I just even read? Of course, your brothers would be baffled that you want freaking heat as birthday present, and I hope Dave forces Sarah to apologize to you, publicly, as should your cousin. My teenagers give/loan money to each other all the time, even if they've been fighting. I wonder if Sarah's an only child or if she's just that much of a selfish person. And now for the update. So my middle brother called me yesterday and asked me to explain what's been going on, and I did. He's always had quite a temper and got very angry about the Sarah situation. He mentioned how Dave is paying the rent for Sarah's 22-year-old brother's apartment. So for Sarah to ask me not to ask Dave for anything at all was so messed up, when her own brother is getting his rent paid every single month by Dave. To be honest, this made me mad. It's okay for Dave to support her brother, but God forbid he sends me 50 euros for an emergency? Anyway, Dave called me and we had a heart-to-heart conversation. I explained to him what I've been going through here, and he was silent for a while. I did mention that if I was in urgent need of something, I still had my other two brothers to ask, so it really wasn't that terrible. He said he feels so guilty that I was suffering, and he didn't know. He said he won't tell me the details about his discussion with his wife, but he was heartbroken that she would even think of telling me not to rely on him, and has asked her to give me an apology, which she said she did. But at the time of the call, I hadn't received anything. I said I haven't gotten an apology from her, and he told me to check my messages again, still nothing. He was silent for a while and just sighed. I also mentioned a text my cousin sent, which he asked me to forward to him. He said it felt so bad that people so much older than me were treating me like this, and he will deal with it so it never happens again. That was this morning. I got a message from Sarah 10 minutes ago. Not sure how that's meant to be an apology, but to summarize, she said, "I'm sorry if you took what I said as you can't ever rely on your brother. He's your brother, and I would never intentionally try to make you feel like he couldn't do anything for you. I'm also hurt that you couldn't speak to me if you had a problem with it. We could have solved this as sisters." Now, what am I meant to say to that? I know she'll make me the villain if I don't respond, but honestly, what on earth is that? I can laugh because of the audacity, and this whole thing is so ridiculous. But thank you, and I will take them up on their help from now on. They just got married in May, so I'm not sure how long they'll be together if there's trouble in paradise so early. But anyway, I hope whatever's best for my brother happens. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. This is a private matter between you and your brother, over a measly 50 euros for a health emergency. Is your brother employed? How did he get the deal of your brother paying his rent? I'm floored that he is okay with it. Although, who knows what Sarah's told your brother? It seems that Sarah knows exactly what she's doing and has been a manipulator for a while now. She's got gaslighter written all over her. Stay strong and keep us updated. To be honest, Dave paying Sarah's brother's rent isn't surprising. It's very normal in our community to help our family in this way. I don't know much about his situation as we only met once at a wedding. The only weird thing about this situation, in my opinion, is how comfortable Sarah is for Dave to pay her brother's rent, but she'd raise hell if he did the same for me. Send your sister-in-law's apology to your brother. I really wanted to do that, but won't it look like I'm instigating further problems? Honestly, maybe that's for the best. I mean, he seems to really care about you, and it wouldn't be fair to him to be with somebody who doesn't understand the love he has for his sister, and who could treat somebody with such condescending manners. I don't know. I feel like it'd only be doing him a favor. Sarah is horrible. I'd respond back mentioning that you did speak to her, and she made herself very clear with her statements and questions about the situation. Or I just say something like, "I'd love to speak. Let's FaceTime with Dave." I would have a FaceTime call with the both of them, so she can't have these conflicting side conversations with you. Also, and I mean this in the nicest way, you might want to work on your confidence, especially when it comes to Sarah. She's got a lot of nerve treating you in that manner. Don't let her bully you, especially with all that distance between you guys. Your brothers sound like very lovely people, and I would continue to have some deep conversations with them if I were you. Perhaps asking them for advice on how to manage certain things would be a good start, if you don't want to have to rely on them. This way, they'll be happy you're reaching out to them for help, but they'll be helping you to learn and grow instead of just handing you what you need. Good luck. Update. My 27 female girlfriend of 2 years won't forgive me for cheating on my ex-fiancé, 28 female, and I'm 28 male at a loss. Original post. Background. So I know the sub often quotes, "Once a cheater, always a cheater." I agree and disagree at the same time. I cheated on my ex-fiancé when I was 24. I had recently found out after my mother passed that she was not actually my mother, but my grandmother. My junkie sister who overdosed when I was 15 was actually my bio-mom. My fiancé at the time, Alma, told me that I needed to get over it because there was nothing I could do. She stopped wanting to talk to me, even if it was about her day, and I felt emasculated constantly. She refused to be intimate for months at a time, and I withdrew. We both stopped trying, but neither of us were ready to let go, as we were high school sweethearts and were afraid of being without each other. Long story short, I had a one-night stand. In the moment, it felt nice that someone was interested in my day, in me, and found me attractive. And then it felt like someone dropped a boulder on me. I told Alma immediately the day after, and we split up. I am by no means proud of myself for cheating. I felt sick to my stomach looking at myself and took a year to reevaluate my life. I moved apartments, hit the gym, ate better, tried Buddhism, and now I feel better. Alma and I even got together after the year to talk things out. She apologized for pulling away and I apologized for cheating. We forgive each other. We'll never be great friends again, but I feel better knowing that we won't cringe when we see the other person. I met my now girlfriend, Sasha, at a mutual friend's party. I got her number and we really hit it off. When we broached a conversation about past relationships, I told her what happened between me and Alma. I told her that if she had any questions or if this made her feel uncomfortable, then to let me know. She seemed fairly understanding, though she had never cheated or been cheated on, and we continued to have a wonderful relationship. We moved in together in November. Now, about the end of February, she started to become increasingly curious about the cheating. She asked me if the one-night stand that I ever talked after, if she knew I had a fiancé, if Alma wanted to try and work things out, or if I ever tried to get with other women in relationships, etc. I answered her honestly to all, and let her know that if she's concerned that I'm going to cheat again, I'll keep my electronics and such open to her. Things seemed to be alright for a bit, until I noticed that Sasha was compulsively going through my electronics. She didn't ask me any more questions regarding my infidelity, but just became very jealous and controlling. For example, 3 weeks ago I had to take my computer to the shop because it had been acting buggy. Come to find out that a keylogger of some sort had been installed in my computer. I brought this up to Sasha, and she asked why I took my computer in, that it worked fine for her and that maybe it downloaded when I went into some adult site. Another example would be Alma messaging me on Facebook last week, wondering why I sent her and another girl from high school text messages. I had no idea what she was talking about, and she sent me screen caps from a cell phone number that's obviously mine. The texts weren't inappropriate, but obviously out of place. They just tried to strike up a conversation, but were obviously not done in my tone. Again, I asked Sasha, and she seemed genuinely clueless and baffled. I checked my online account, and it confirmed that the messages were sent from my phone. Yesterday, Sasha and I went out to celebrate her friend Danielle's promotion. When Sasha went to the bathroom, Danielle brought up cheating. She told me about his ex that cheated on her all the time and cheated in all of his relationships. Once a cheater, you know. I told her that for some people that's true, but I think once a cheater should be reflective of the relationship that someone cheated in. I always know Alma will see me as a cheater. I can't take that away, but I never want to cheat again. I never want to step into a relationship and be treated like a cheater. I explained this to Danielle without referencing my past infidelity. She laughed and told me I deluded myself, and that Sasha better keep her eye on me. Sasha came back and I excused myself and told Sasha I felt sick and wanted to go home. She wanted to stay and I said I could just Uber. So I Ubered home and watched some Netflix. Sasha came home a little tipsy and began to slyly ask if I came home immediately or if I detoured. I asked her why she was being so distrustful, as I felt I kept communications open to her and have not given her a reason to not believe me. She went silent, then excused herself to go to bed. When I joined her, she was on her laptop and slammed it shut when I entered the room. Today, I'm fuming. I've done everything I feel I can to help alleviate any worries of cheating. I've done my best to be a better person than who I once was. I'm at a loss and don't know if this is a normal reaction when you date someone who once cheated. Is this worth salvaging with Sasha, or should I just cut and run? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Come to find out that a keylogger of some sort had been installed in my computer. That alone would be a deal breaker for me. By the way, when you run, be prepared for her to tell everybody you cheated. She sounds immature enough to do that. I guess I foolishly hoped that she was right. That somehow I had inadvertently downloaded it. The guy at the computer shop just kinda hung his head if I asked him if it was a possibility. Writing this all out with each instance really opens my eyes. Run from crazy. You cannot fix this. She has crossed so many lines. I felt that if I kept everything open and reduced the lines, then she wouldn't feel the need to cross so many. Damn, writing that all makes me recognize how wrong that was. Or should I just cut and run? Yep. She's pretending to be you and texting people from your phone and asking her girlfriends to try to get dirt on you? Not salvageable. Sorry, man. I just don't understand why she felt the need to text Alma or the other girl from my high school. I don't understand if that's insecurity or crazy. But I guess I need to create a quiet exit plan. Any tips? I don't understand if that's insecurity or crazy. It's both. Woohoo! The 2-for-1 combo. Either way, you don't want to stick around for it. As for the exit plan, what's the deal with your living situation? Own or rent? Who is on the lease? Can you kick her out and or move out easily yourself? I own my apartment. We split the pay per month. I think at this point she's considered a month-to-month tenant, so she would be given 30 days written notice. My only concern is that I feel really uncomfortable leaving anything in my apartment with her while she would move out. Maybe I'm being irrational, but I feel that if she's been this obsessive, I wouldn't put it past her to damage my things or do further damage. And now for the update. So I'm just going to sum things up because there's a lot of details, and it's great for long stories with friends. Maybe not here. Sasha told me she was going to visit her mother because there was a health emergency last week. I took her to the airport and immediately moved all essentials out of my place to a storage locker not far from it. I had my computer and phone scrubbed off key loggers and trackers. There were several in each. A good friend of mine offered me a spare room until a month is up as I had to leave a 30-day written notice for Sasha in the apartment. I decided it would be best to wait until she got home to let her know we broke up, to not distract her from her family. The day before Sasha was supposed to fly back, I received an eerie Facebook message from Alma. Apparently for the past couple days, her home had been messed with. Someone left gates open, tore through screen doors, broke a couple pots in yard, and she felt like she was being watched. She asked if there was any chance that I or Sasha was behind all of this. It pained me to say it, but part of me thought Sasha or Danielle might be, as I had no idea where Alma currently lived. I informed her about the key logger, the trackers, and other issues. Alma asked what kind of car I drove, as she had noticed the same car driving by several times, and was now parked at the end of her block. It was not Sasha's vehicle or mine, so I assumed Danielle might be stalking Alma on Sasha's behalf while she was gone. Alma asked if I would come deal with us as she was very upset to be involved involuntarily in this issue, and to at least provide company so she wouldn't be home alone. She gave me her address and off I went. Come to find out, Sasha never boarded the plane. She bought a ticket and turned around as soon as I did. She rented a car and went to stalk Alma, probably in hopes to catch me going back to Alma, which in her eyes happened as soon as I showed up to Alma's place. I arrived and Sasha came bulldozing out of her rented car towards me. She kept screaming at me for cheating on her, that she knew I'd run back to that S-word, that the second she was gone, I couldn't keep my prick in my pants. Alma came out of her house at the sound of the screams and Sasha tried to sprint at her. Thankfully, Alma was able to get back into her home and lock the door in time, while Sasha began to hurl things around her yard. The police arrived and took everyone aside for statements. Alma showed pictures of prior damage, photos of the car parked at the end of the block, Facebook messages between me and her, and I did the same. Surprisingly, it seemed that Sasha didn't deny any of it. She even admitted to stalking Alma's Facebook enough to determine where she lived based on photos. The worst moment was when they put Sasha in the police car. She looked me dead in the eyes and told me that what she did it for me and our love together. We will be together, she swears. The police officer apologized and said I should start looking into a restraining order ASAP. So that's what I've been doing this week. I think I want to be single for some time now. That is so unsettling. I'm glad you and Alma are safe. You should talk to her about also looking into getting a restraining order for herself against Sasha. I'm not sure what Alma's plans are right now, but we're both refraining from further contact from each other. She's removed herself from Facebook, and that's all I know. Can you ask the officers you spoke to if they could bring it up with her? This is so out of nowhere for her that I wouldn't be surprised if needing to take that action hasn't occurred to her, and she is absolutely still in danger from Sasha. I for sure will. I'd like to think Alma would take action, but you're right given how quickly this all came to a head. Sounds like she needs some serious help. I think you and Alma both need to look into home security systems. Way ahead of you. I've never been so scared of someone much tinier than me, but I feel awful that she followed Alma. Dude, wow. Tell Alma to get some security cameras. If she's this cuckoo, this won't be the last you hear from her. Now for the last story. Found ovulation tests, but we don't plan on having kids and have protected intimacy. Is she cheating? Plus update. Original post. So a week ago I opened our closet and noticed that the box where we keep our bedroom toys looked different. I looked inside and noticed there were 3 things missing. Asked my girlfriend about it. She said she didn't know anything about it. Somewhat later she then said she took them out and put them somewhere else. When I asked her where, she said she forgot where and she would search for them. When I asked her again yesterday, she got angry and said she had no time for looking and was dodging questions. Today I searched for myself. Didn't find them, but I found some ovulation tests. We don't plan to have kids. Is there any other reason that she's using these tests? Like medical reasons. She has a history of HPV. Or is she cheating? She's not at home right now and I'm getting crazy, so I'm asking here before I look like an idiot when I'm asking her tonight. Edit. I should have mentioned that we haven't been intimate for about a month now, but I found these tests in her backpack she uses when she's sleeping at friends. When I tried to talk to her calmly about the toys, she got really angry fast and left the room. And about asking the friends, half the time I don't even know at which friend's house she is. When I ask her, she says stuff like, some girls I met at soccer practices or at a party. Last Sunday when I asked her where she's going, she misspoke the name of a friend that I know. She then told me that she always called her that name. I never heard her call her friend that, so that's weird too. Now for the top advice before reading the update. She might just be tracking her cycle. I do that and I'm not planning a pregnancy. Quite the opposite. Knowing when I'm ovulating helps me avoid a window of fertility. And in general, I just want to get acquainted with my cycle. If you feel you're going crazy, you should ask her, but please go about it as calmly as you possibly can. I understand, but we haven't been intimate for a while now, and it's weird that she hid them in a backpack under the bed. That doesn't matter. You said it's been a month. She might have had a private moment where her period was different or late last time, which would be a month ago. And she might have wanted to add in an extra layer of protection by knowing the next time she's ovulating. Maybe it's so she can see if it connects to mood. Maybe it's to make sure she doesn't have intimacy during that window. Maybe it has something to do with how she's taking care of her reproductive system. Either way, this information is useful for her knowledge of her own body, and that isn't something that should be viewed so negatively. She may want to know if she's even fertile. She also could want to start having unprotected action and not risk pregnancy. Edited to add. After reading the edits, her behavior sounds suspicious. Could be out of context, but they also could be red flags. I don't know, the ovulation tests are particularly suspicious, but the rest of what you said is. Bedroom toys went missing and she's the only other person with access to them, yet can't explain where they went, and she gets angry when you bring it up. She stays over at other people's houses you don't know and they are just some friends she met. Maybe that's a cultural thing, but kind of weird where I'm from. I'm a believer in trusting your gut. If her behavior suddenly change, you think she acts suspicious, and you suddenly stop having as much intimacy as normal, those are pretty classic signs of cheating. Also, he added in a comment that spending the night with friends just started a month ago, at the same time that the intimacy stopped. And now for the update. Hours ago, my now ex-girlfriend came home, and after reading the comments on my post, I felt like a paranoid idiot, so I decided to drop it. She acted really weird when she came home, and I noticed that she had something in her hand when she came out of the toilet and went to our bedroom. Immediately, my inner alarm went off, and as soon as she left the bedroom, I was looking for what she's hiding. I found a used ovulation test, and another package with one pill that was missing under her pants under a pillow. I took a picture, and after searching the name from the package on Google, it's an emergency contraceptive called Ella-1. I was freaking shocked and disgusted when I read that, and I still am. So I immediately went to her and asked about the toys again, and why there are these ovulation tests under her bed. Before she could lie to me, I just told her that I know that she just took that pill. She started freaking laughing, so I told her that this is absolutely not funny in any way. She told me to leave her alone, but I was so mad that I just asked her the same freaking questions until she started crying. She accused me of hacking her phone, that I was spying on her, that I'm the bad one, until she finally told me the truth. About a month ago, she messaged one of her coaches on Instagram because of some sport lotion and where to get it and all. They exchanged numbers, kept chatting, and started to meet. So the sleepovers were indeed them hooking up. When I asked about the toys, she just said that I would know where they are, and she had a test because they did it without protection. She now wants me to leave the apartment and told me that she already had legal advice weeks ago and that I have 1 month to leave because I'm just a subtenant. Knowing that she already planned this makes me so incredibly sick. She's gone now, and I feel like I'm dead. I'm not sad or angry. I just feel nothing right now. 5 years wasted for nothing. How can someone be this freaking cold? I just don't understand. We moved about 2 years ago to a different city because she wanted to study here. I don't have friends here where I can live until I find something. I don't have a family and 1 month to find a home in one of the busiest cities in Germany. I never thought that I'd get cheated on. I'm not perfect, but I don't think that I deserve this. She's a different person to me, and it makes me crazy. I'm writing this and hoping it helps me see clearer. It feels like a dream. And for all the people who read this have similar suspicions, don't ask the sub for advice. The comments made me almost drop this matter. Trust your gut and don't rely on people who don't know the full picture or are biased. Because in hindsight, there were so many red flags, but I was just too dumb to see it. I don't care if I misspelled something. I just want to give an update and maybe clear my head a little. I'm going for a walk now and hope that tomorrow will look different.